Good morning. I'm delighted to be back, and I'm continuing to look at St. Paul's distinctive teachings in the New Testament. We're on day 243, and this is a rather heartfelt plea by St. Paul to a church that isn't forgiving enough. This is about the importance of forgiveness. It's the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verses 5 to 11. Listen to what St. Paul says. It looks like one of you has made somebody sad. Not me personally, I hasten to add, but I think he's made all of you at least a bit unhappy. And I'm saying this so as not to be too hard on him. He has received enough punishment now from most of you. It's now time to forgive him and encourage him, because we don't want him so depressed that he gives up. Let him know you really love him. The letter I wrote to you, I wrote to find out how well you had stood the test and whether you were remaining obedient. When you forgive someone for what they've done, so do I. When I forgive, if I actually need to, I do it in the presence of Christ for your sake. I want to keep Satan from getting the upper hand. We know well what his plans are. So, I want to keep Satan from getting the upper hand. We know well what his plans are. Paul had already been to Corinth twice and was expecting to go back again. In the meantime, something had gone wrong, and it was to do with some misunderstanding about an exchange of letters that we don't have access to. Some poor fellow had got something wrong or done something bad, and it looks like the majority of the Corinthian Christian congregation had had it in for him ever since. Reading between the lines, the argument between this person and Paul started while he was last with them, and the majority of the congregation had subsequently sided with Paul. What Paul now discovered was that the man was now being hounded and punished far more than he deserved. That's Satan getting the upper hand. And that's what Paul was working hard to correct. First of all, he took the sting out of the misdemeanor by saying he was not personally upset by the disagreement, and that whatever the poor fellow had done wrong, he had now received more than enough of a comeback for it. Enough was enough. Now he had to turn the tables against Satan completely by appealing to the Corinthians' better nature. What does God do to sinners? He forgives them. Who are we? We are God's people. What should we do for this sinner before it's too late and has left or done worse? We should forgive him and bring him back into our fellowship. Paul says, let him know you really love him. God alone has the power to put us right with himself. Paul is here teaching us how to put ourselves right with each other. It is in our power to do this for each other and let one another know that love between Christians is a real thing. There was still a lot of work to do if Paul was to teach the church what God is really like. The world's ideas of God were often far from the truth. Tomorrow, we see a vision of God derived from Paul's own personal experience, showing us what the life and teachings of Jesus tell us about God and his intentions for us. See you tomorrow.